All right, we're live. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to everyone who's watching our Hanging Out with Mimi. You can join us every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'm Mira.
I'm Beth.
This is Becca. Sorry.
I'm Michael.
And we are joined by Michael from ActivityRez.
Hi, everyone.
Michael, you are the marketing. We're live. Hi. We are the everyone who's watching are hanging out with me. Sorry. You can join us at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Echoes.
Had an echo. So sorry, everyone. All right, we're back. Michael, you are the marketing manager at ActivityRez. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. So ActivityRez is we're a software as a service company. We make reservation software for tour and activity operators. So if you were a hiking tour company or a surfing lesson company, our software helps you automate your business, helps you accept bookings through your website, etc. And our customers vary from tour operators all the way up to travel agencies. So if you're a travel agency, our software helps you connect to tour operators, and likewise, if you're a tour operator, it helps you connect to travel agencies. Hope that makes sense. It's a lot. It's kind of high-level stuff.
Nice.
And you're also from Hawaii, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I lived in Hawaii my whole life, and our company is based out of Honolulu, which is great because this is kind of like the mecca for the tourism industry.
Right.
So,
everybody's a tourist. No, I'm just kidding.
Customers are pretty much every tour operator in Hawaii.
Wow.
That's a great market. That's really awesome. And so today on Hanging Out, we're going to be talking about drip campaigns. And you may have heard about these around the web or the email marketing world as autoresponders, because that's essentially what they do. That's just what we call them here at Mad Mimi. We call them drip campaigns. And it's an email that you set up to go out automatically whenever somebody signs up. So there are a ton of different ways that you can use these to grow and excite your audience. For everything from simple welcome email, one that sends automatically when somebody signs up. You can follow up with people at some, predestined or predetermined. Sorry, maybe it is predestined. Predetermined interval, such as 6 months from purchase or something like that. You can set all those up automatically to just go up whenever someone signs your list. And another way that you can use these is to offer an email course to people who maybe it's free or it's paid, it's a product that you sell. And Michael actually just wrote a blog post for us specifically on email courses and different sort of drip campaign uses as a specific email course. So I was wondering if you could tell us maybe just some highlights from that post that folks can go and read on our blog.
Sure. So let me see if I could share that link with everyone. Here's the link to the blog post that I did. And essentially, what the blog post was about is I've always known the power of drip campaigns or autoresponders, but I've been seeing them more and more often on websites out there. Typically, as you know, there's a lot of value in growing your email subscriber list, so you can carry on a conversation with your current and future customers. And typically, what people do to grow their list is give away something for free, such as an ebook. But I've been noticing that more and more people are offering email courses to help grow their list. And email courses are great because, in my mind, they're very easy to set up. You don't have to pay a designer to create an ebook. Of course, you don't need to pay a designer to create an ebook. You could do it yourself, but it wouldn't be very fancy. It wouldn't be very shareable. Whereas an email course, you know, all it takes really is a service provider like MadMimi to who has a feature like drip campaigns, and it just takes some time, your own time spent writing. So you don't have to worry about formatting really. You don't have to have any design skills. You just have to put some thought into it and create value for your subscribers. And the great thing too is it kind of builds anticipation. So you could send out your first email and kind of lead people on to or get people excited for the next email in the series. And so my point is basically I've been seeing a lot more people using drip campaigns lately. So in the blog post that I did, I highlighted some really great ones that I found, and I reached out to the owners of the websites and just asked them about their results from their drip campaigns. And the overwhelming response was it's created a great return for the company. Probably, at the very least, everyone said that you know, they didn't have enough data. For those people who said they didn't have enough data to having statistical significance, they did say that right away they noticed that the quality of the leads were much better right off the bat.
Oh, that's cool.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyway, in the blog post, I just give 5 examples of websites that are using email courses successfully, and I give some tips. I kind of break down those email courses and highlight the really cool things or the different things about each of those courses.
Awesome.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. And we're gonna post the URL to, you know, right in the feed here in just a second. But so how can you do it? We can all do it. Yay! Let's we're gonna go over actually how to set up a drip campaign so that you can create your own email course. You can see, you know, you can see all these like great things that Michael's talking about, higher quality leads, even a higher return on any kind of effort that you put out there. So drip campaigns in MadMimi are super easy to set up. And just to note before we start, this is a paid feature. It's a paid account feature. I'm sorry, it's a free feature, but it's only available for our paid accounts. Yet, if you want to test it out, just ask us, and we'll give you a free trial. So I'm going to send it over to Becca to show you guys how to set that up.
Hey guys. So I'm going to share my screen so you can sort of follow along with the steps here. So the first thing you're going to do is, if you are new to MadMimi, you don't have drip campaigns yet, you're first going to go into your Add Things menu, which you can find at the top of your page here. And then you can either scroll down to find drip campaigns or use the search bar on the right here. And when you search for drip, you'll see it show up. And you can turn it on and then click this Go Set It Up button. And again, if you're new to MadMimi, this will be an empty page first. And so what you'll do here is click the New Drip Campaign button on the right. Now you'll name it something that identifies it, that you can recognize it more easily. So I'll call it Hanging Out with MadMimi, and we'll do Confused. And now you're going to choose which audience list it gets sent to. Now this is pretty important because once you choose this list, you can't change it later. So just make sure that you choose the proper list for it. And we're going to choose our Hangout Drip example list. So this is just for today. And now you can choose if you want the promotion to send every week at a certain time, or if you want the first one to send immediately, which we'll say yes to. And don't worry too much about the gap here, because you can always change these times later. It's just the list that you want to make sure is the right one. And then we'll click Create My Drip Campaign. And already we're going to see we have our page getting started here.
Right, sorry, just one thing. Sorry if I missed this, though. Everyone who's in that list currently, when you start it, they'll receive it as well. That's
true, yeah. So if you're starting a new campaign for only new subscribers, then I'd recommend you use a brand new empty audience list, and then the people who sign up will receive the drip immediately. If you're starting a drip for existing customers, then everybody in the list will get it as soon as you enable the campaign. So just keep that in mind. And now we're going to build this like a regular promotion in your Mimi account. So I'll just add some example text here. I believe most of you are already used to building a promotion itself, so I'll just throw in some placeholders. And I'll say something.
I'm so excited about day one. So many exclamations.
All right. So this will be an example of a first day drip. But we'll say, you know, for example, that your first day is sort of a welcome aboard greeting to your new subscribers. This is a great place to include links to your website and your social media links as well, to sort of let them know what they can expect from the future of the campaign, and let them know how to get in touch with you. So that's a great place to put all of your really important information, so folks who sign up know right away that they're on your list and what they can expect. And once you hit that continue button, you'll be taken to the mailing details. So you can choose your from name and from address and your subject line. One, hanging out with Matt Mimi. And we'll hit continue one more time. And looks good, save it. So you already have your first drip here. And underneath the title, you can see it'll send immediately after a member signs up. So as soon as somebody signs up via a web form, or as soon as you add them to that drip list, they'll receive that email right away. Now, if you want to create another one, sorry, Mira, did I miss you?
No, I was just going to mention that it's really important that you have all of these set up before you start the campaign. It's really tempting to like get that first email done and then start the campaign. You're like, oh, I'll add some emails later. But when someone receives the last email in a drip, they actually get marked as complete. So then if they receive the last email, which right now, as you can see on Becca's screen, is just day one, and then you add an email after that, they won't get it because they've already been marked as complete. So it's really important that you sort of finish that drip campaign as a unit, and you feel like it's, okay, I'm happy with somebody receiving all of these and then being done before you start it.
Definitely. So if you wanted just one autoresponder, that would be all you need to do. You just need to set up this one welcome aboard kind of email, and that would be it. Somebody signs up, they get it right away. But if you want to create a whole series of emails, which is super fun, it's also easy to do. We can either add another drip from scratch and build up a regular email on our own, or we can clone the first one. And for a series of emails, I like cloning because they maintain the same basic shape and design, but you can update the content. So it'll seem familiar to people who are receiving it. So once you clone it, you can then click Edit to change any of the information there. So we can call this one Welcome to Day 2, for example. And we can add some extra information like and then again, save and continue to go through and update your details.
So let's pop over to a drip campaign that exists already, so we can talk about the different frequencies of, so we're setting up the frequencies.
Cool. So what I'll do is I'll hit this Back to Drips button here, and we have a really cool new signups tutorial that we already have sending. And in fact, if you're a MadMimi user, you might have already received this whole series. So to view the specific sending details for this drip, we'll click on the drip title. And once the page loads, we're going to be taken to the area where you can see everyone that we've created, and which day it is, what it's about, and when it sends. You'll see here that this is a daily drip, and you can tell because the first one sends as soon as somebody signs up. The second one sends 1 day after a member receives the previous drip. So that means they'll receive this, and 1 day later, they'll receive day 2.
Right. And that's all editable. You can make that a month later. You can make it 4 days later. You can do whatever you'd like with that, but that wording is kind of important to keep in mind because the time that you're setting is the amount of time since they received the previous email.
Definitely. So if you see it says send 1 day after here, it doesn't mean send 1 day after the whole thing starts. It means it sends 1 day after this one. And you can always hit this Schedule and Details button to change the time interval. So you see up here it says send 1 day after the previous drip. And that's where you can change all your information as well, like the from name, from address, and subject line.
So Dean has asked a question here that I can see, which is how many emails should there be in a drip campaign? What do you guys think? 5, 8?
I think it really depends on the information you're trying to get across. Some people run drip campaigns that last, for months and months. I find that a week, especially if you're doing a sort of welcome aboard campaign, about a week can be super effective because it sort of lets people get settled in to getting used to hearing from you and knowing what to look for. And especially if you're trying to teach something, a week is a great way to, sort of get a lot of information out without overloading somebody in one email. But I feel like Michael might have some more points about that.
Well, that's a really good question. A lot of, I would say a week, like you said, is the most common drip campaign I've seen, and you guys, I've seen it from the user's point of view. You guys probably see a lot more drip campaigns than I do, but I would also agree that a week is about a good time for a drip campaign. However, you should always be testing. One of the companies that I highlighted in my blog post was BidSketch, and they do a month-long drip campaign.
Wow.
And the founder of BidSketch, he's known for being very analytical. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tested a 7-day campaign versus a 30-day campaign and found that the 30-day one worked better. But of course, it's going to be different for every audience.
Wow, cool.
I also noticed we have another question here asking about surveys. And if you include a survey in an email, can you have an autoresponder set to respond to people based on their responses to a survey? And the answer is kind of. A full survey, like with SurveyMonkey, is going to be answered outside of the email itself. So that'll be answered on SurveyMonkey itself, for example. But what you can do in Beanie is use our link to list feature. And that's a feature that means if somebody clicks on a yes, they'll be taken into one audience list, or if they click on a no, they'll be added to a different list. And I can send you some information, Carol, about link to list. And what you can do then is have a drip campaign set up for people who say yes to one thing and who say no to another thing, for example. But it can be much more clear than that and much more detailed. But I'll send you some more information afterwards in the comments, all right? And the other question was, the send at 10 a.m. If it only applies to the subsequent drips, yeah, exactly. So the first drip, if you set it to immediate, will be sent right away after somebody signs up, almost immediately, actually. And then the rest of the drips will be sent the next day at 10 a.m. if you choose 10 a.m., or the next day at 2 p.m. if you choose 2 p.m. So the first one happens automatically, and the rest of them will happen at the time that you choose.
It's automatic, and it is often automatic, but it is also automatic within about an hour. So you just it's not necessarily like right then, but it is essentially right then. Yeah, just to point out. Cool. All right. Was there anything else about setting up the drip campaigns that we needed to go over? I think we ran through pretty much the.
I think that was mostly it. Yeah. Oh, and if anybody's wondering about stats, you can also view stats. I'll show you here. You can view each individual stat. Once you click on the drip title in your drips menu, you'll see a little stats button down at the bottom here, and you can click that stats button to see how well your drip performed. Who viewed and who responded, who clicked on links and who shared it and things like that. So that's also a good place to go to see how it's doing.
Great. I think that's about, well, so that, we talked a little bit about general email course creation or, scheduled follow-up sort of uses for drip campaigns. Michael, is there anything else that you've kind of found out there in either your research or in your ActivityRez activity that, would be relevant here?
I guess the main thing that I want to get across is, you know, with any business, whether you're a software company or an e-commerce company, I think a drip campaign would be really a good addition to your marketing mix. So the point is, you know, try everything, test everything, and see what works best for you. Use a email course in addition to giving away a free, you know, a free PDF. But test everything.
Yeah.
Don't overlook the power of an email course as part of your marketing mix. And I'll give you a really great example. I recently signed up for an email course by a blogger named Ramit Sethi. I believe I'm pronouncing his name correct. He has a blog called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich," and he's kind of like a motivational speaker. He's also a New York Times bestseller. But he started sending me his email course from when I first signed up. And one thing that I thought was really cool is in his first email, he kind of just like really pre-qualified everybody. He was like, hey, you know, I'm going to be sending you emails one a day for the next 7 days. And, you know, if you don't like that, feel free to unsubscribe right now. That I thought was another interesting trick was like pre-qualifying everyone, getting everyone really excited. He was like, if you don't want to learn or if you don't want to work hard, then you know, right down below. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's really great. We had another question for you specifically, Michael, which is what sort of businesses do you think could benefit from drip campaigns and email courses like you're talking about?
Okay, so I think every online business could benefit from an email course, especially software as a service companies, and especially e-commerce companies. That being said, I also think you know, it would be even great for like a really boring B2B company. Target customer at ActivityRez isn't very sexy, you know. We're B2B software, but I think that an email course would actually be even better for a B2B company because business owners, you know, they're really busy with their day-to-day operations. So if they can get really small, digestible content really quickly and easily, then that provides a lot of value to them. So an email course is perfect for, I think, a business customer. Maybe even better than for an e-commerce website. So, yeah.
Cool, thank you. The other questions that we have popped up here are a little bit more technical, so I'm just gonna pop over there. So one question is about, is there a way to send different emails based on the receiver's response or lack thereof? You know, so if they opened it or if they didn't open it, can you sort of funnel them into a different drip campaign? And there isn't, but with list management that you can do in your audience, following your click stats and your view stats, you could actually create different drip campaigns and put people into lists you know, in order to do that, in order to follow up with them in that way. And that would just be you know, a drip campaign will send to a list if you add the email address to the list or if they sign up. So it doesn't have to be that they just signed up. You could create a drip campaign for people who have never opened an email of yours, and every 6 months put them in a drip campaign that you know, something like that, for example.
And it's something that, like, it might not be automated in the drip campaign itself, but it's something that's pretty easy to set up. And if anybody needs help doing that at all, you can always email us at support@madmimi.com. or Mira or I personally at Mira@madmimi or Becca@madmimi. And we'll be happy to help figure out who didn't read an email and where you want to put them after that. that point. That's totally something we can all help you do. So, and then we had one last question about including video. You can totally include video in, maybe not in the way that you're thinking. So sending an attachment via bulk mail can cause some issues with delivery. It can make some spam filters think that you're sending something spammy. So there's not a way to attach a video. But what you can totally do is add a screenshot, a nice, clear, high-res picture of the video player, and make that into a clickable link, which will send folks to the video page on YouTube, for example. And again, that's something we can totally help with. If you want to send me the video link and let me know what promotion you're working on, I'll be happy to add it for you. And there's also a good help doc in the Mimi help docs about how to set that up. So.
Great. Anything else? Michael, you have anything you want to add about drip campaigns for us today?
I just want to say that I really enjoyed the process of setting up a drip campaign within Mad Mimi. It was really easy, not a lot of steps, very intuitive. Just like as you just showed everyone, that took us like 5 minutes. The hardest part about all that is creating the content, which it's hard for anyone. But yeah, it's really nice that the last thing that you have.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow Michael on Twitter at Michael Folling. His company is ActivityRez at ActivityRez.com, and we'll post all those links so you guys can click on them. You don't have to listen to what I'm saying. And our video will always be on our YouTube channel, and we will always be there if you need us. So email, come into our live chat. We're here for you. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thank you, Michael, for joining us.
All right. See you all later.
Guys.
Thank you. Bye.